Hi, I'm Tal Tsfany, the president and CEO of the Ayn Rand Institute. And the most powerful thing that I've ever read by Ayn Rand was this little book called Introduction to Objectivist Epistemology. My story with this book is that I read Atlas and I was blown away by the story. And then I realized, wow, she has something to say above just a great story. And I started reading her nonfiction and started understanding what an amazing thinker she is. And then there was a reference to this little book called Introduction to Objectivist Epistemology, so I bought it. I don't know how I got this one. It's a 1979 it's falling apart copy of it. And I took it and I said, okay, I'm going to go on an airplane, and between going from Atlanta to California and back, I'm going to finish it. And it took me months and months to go through this thing just to realize that Ayn Rand is such a genius. This is the physics or the quantum mechanics of her philosophy in epistemology, going down to the nature of our consciousness, the nature of our concept formation, and just showing us she has no end to her understanding, almost no end to her understanding of the human nature, of the human mind, and how everything in her philosophy makes complete sense. So I want to read a couple of quotes just to show you how condensed and rich this book is. And it's short, but one of the hardest reads that I ever had. And I don't know how this thing is not on every bookshelf everywhere in the world. It's the most amazing, revealing book about who we are as human beings. So the first quote is in the first chapter, the first paragraph of the first chapter, called Cognition and Measurement. And it says, consciousness as a state of awareness is not a passive state, but an active process that consists of two essentials: differentiation and integration. Wow. She says that if you condense everything to what we do with this amazing machine in our head, is we differentiate and we integrate. And you'll have to read more to understand what she means by that. But that's an unbelievable observation. Another quote defining what concepts are from the same chapter, or in the chapter Concept Formation. She says, a concept is a mental integration of two or more units possessing the same distinguishing characteristics, with their particular measurements omitted. Again, it blew my mind on how concise and accurate she is defining the fundamental tool that we're using as human beings, concepts. I wanted one of my favorite, if not the best one ever, is she talks about the nature of concepts. And she talks about it as if, and she relates it to math. So I want to quote her from the same chapter. The basic principle of concept formation, which states that the omitted measurements must exist in some quantity, but may exist in any quantity, is the equivalent of the basic principle of algebra, which states that algebraic symbols must be given some numerical value, but may be given any value. In this sense and respect, perceptual awareness is the arithmetic, but conceptual awareness is the algebra of cognition. Wow, this is just unbelievable how she connects everything, and it's almost poetic the way she puts it in this formulation. And the last thing I want to read you is the last paragraph of the last chapter before the summary. She says something that just shows how powerful this is. She says, and I quote, "Just as man's physical existence was liberated when he grasped the principle that nature to be commanded must be obeyed, so his consciousness will be liberated when he grasps that nature to be apprehended must be obeyed. That the rules of cognition must be derived from the nature of existence and the nature, the identity of his cognitive faculty. That shows the scientific approach that Rand is taking in philosophy and epistemology in particular, that is so different than everything I've read. I felt like my journey started with Atlas Shrugged, and there was a turning point when I read this book. When I read this book, it was like the ultimate proof that Rand is building her philosophy on solid ground, on the most concrete, stable infrastructure that I could ever imagine. And it was a proof of what type of genius she is. Someone who on her own devised a whole system and grounded it in our epistemology and metaphysics. This was so powerful for me because it proved that everything she's talking about in politics and morality is all based on the nature of who we are and how we conceptualize the world. And this little book is so condensed, and you have to earn your way through it. But once you do, I don't know that you'll ever encounter, at least not now, a better explanation of the nature of who you are and what you're supposed to do as a human being.